think you had asked, you asked something about, oh yeah, like does the client sometimes feel uncomfortable, or what do we do?
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'd say, that's like one of the most important things I feel I do is helping people feel comfortable in that time from when they first just see my things online to, um, maybe it depends on the person, but to maybe like, uh, yeah, the end of the welcome conversation, or after 15 or 30 minutes into our first session, because like it's a lot of new things. It's like a totally new modality and someone new, and if they come to my space, be a new place. So it's partly why I talk about all throughout that they're at choice, and like if it's feeling like stretching your comfort zone more than what you want, like you're totally in charge, or you're totally empowered to say no thanks, to move away without talking, to have alone time, whatever, yeah, feels best for you. And other things that we do sometimes help people feel more comfortable are either meditating silently, or I'll lead us in a guided meditation.
Oh, I like
Um,
that.
yeah, sometimes we'll do some like talking exercises, practicing saying no thank you, or like we're not actually going to touch, but like just practicing ask for what we want, or saying no, saying yes, to help it feel more comfortable, and like increase confidence. So like, okay, if Kyle asks me this, I don't feel good, it doesn't feel right, I can say no thank you, and he's gonna be like, awesome, I love it that you like, I tell her, like, we get so excited when you say no thank you, because then I know that, yeah, you're making it the experience that's right for you. um yeah, I encourage people to do deep breathing, and yeah, really taking our time, as well as like talking first, and the talking both on the phone or video call about anything that I say, like, you can ask me anything, I'll never be offended. And um yeah, ask specific, like most people have one or more things that they feel nervous or scared or whatever about. Would you like to talk about that either before the session or in the beginning of the session? Yeah, so those are some ways that help people feel comfy.
I love that. You actually mentioned something similar to what we do. We have in the practicing yes and no,
Mm-hmm.
we have an exercise that we do called May I Will You? And we do it in different parts.
Mm-hmm.
Where, are you familiar with it?
It sounds similar to like wheel of consent, or
Yeah, similar to that. And you start out and take turns asking, "May I like touch your hair, or will you?" Whatever it might be.
mm-hmm.
And the answer is always yes, but we don't. It's
Mm-hmm.
not acted upon.
Mm-hmm.
And then the client gets to feel the difference in their body and in their energy of what an authentic yes feels like and what an inauthentic yes feels like. Because a lot of us are used to just going. I have one client in particular who I'm thinking of, who just would kind of go along with everything and had this automatic yes because he was
Mm-hmm.
people pleasing.
Sure.
And it was incredibly enlightening for him to
Mm-hmm.
experience the difference between when it's really yes and when it's not. And then we do that with no. So it's always no, whether you would say yes
Yeah.
or not, and feeling what
Mm-hmm.
that feels like. And he actually started to give himself permission in life to say no to things that he normally would say yes to when he didn't want to, just as a reflexive kind of reaction.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll do it with authentic yeses and nos without following through,
Mm-hmm.
and then authentic yes or no and follow through if you want to. And it's like so simple, and yet most of us are not taught. There's no education, at least, I mean, maybe there is more now,
Yeah.
like a little bit for younger generations,
Mm-hmm.
but for us, I know that there was no consent when I was growing up, and I had a
Mm-hmm.
lot of traumas around either consent not being asked or not being respected, having my
Mm-hmm.
no not respected and that kind of thing. And I think now the younger generations, there's a lot more, thankfully,
Mm-hmm.
um, being talked about in terms of respecting people's boundaries and consent. But I find that to be such such a really amazing and useful exercise. And I love to hear, it sounds like a lot of what you do is similar, like deep breathing and meditations and consent and boundaries.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
our
think
work has
it's,
a lot in common.
yeah. 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 I mean, I find that it's not for everyone, but often I find it's amazing how quickly touch or intimacy can feel safe and comfortable for people when there's so much emphasis first put on safety and the container, and like you're all empowered, like you're completely empowered, your choice. And then it's like,
Yes.
because I think most of us want more connection and intimacy and things, and there's never any rush. But I think often the things that of why we shy away from it is like, yeah, like you're talking about, fear of being violated, fear of what if I
Yeah.
get close, and then even if I'm asked, and but my conditioning, I'm going to say yes when I mean no, or they're going to say yes when they mean no, and different things. So
Yes. Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned that because I get a lot of clients who try to caretake me and they're worried about, if I'm okay and how I'm feeling. And it's also healthy for them to kind of not have that
mm,
responsibility and to be able to just stand in their own empowerment and trust me to hold
mm,
my own boundaries so
mm-hmm.
that they don't have to feel responsible for that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Again, I can relate in my own, yeah, in my own times and in my own sessions, and that is, yeah, it's something, it can be really neat, well, neat and profound, interesting,